Welcome back. All right, we stay with service delivery issues this evening. The Supreme Court of Appeal has paved the way for municipal officials to be held personally liable for governance failures in council. The SCA ruling makes it possible for multi-million rand claims to be recovered from officials found to be responsible for unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Governance expert Professor Kedibone Phago joins us now to discuss this. Prof, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. I almost chuckled when I first saw this story because I thought, my goodness, when you look at the numbers that are touted, when we talk about fruitless and wasteful expenditure sometimes, you might jump back a few times, right? And then this idea that municipal officials may have to pay it back. Your initial thoughts?
Naledi, good evening, and thank you for the invitation. Greetings as well to the viewers at home. It's a momentous judgment, and for people who are quite invested in the research and scholarship of local government, I think it's exciting for many reasons that, local government has been a huge playground for corruption for many years. It's on its knees now, and I think the agencies, the government departments, people who are quite interested in seeing our governance coming to party to address the needs of the citizens, it looks like they are converging. And one key institution that has been very consistent in actually calling those people out is the Auditor General's office. If the courts are coming to party, I think this is really very something good news, something we've been looking forward to hear for many, many years.
Yeah, but how is it? Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of it, right? And of course, it is the SCA ruling. One could argue that you may see this challenged further. But I want to talk about the nuts and bolts of it. So let's say we see a situation where a municipal official is being told that, well, you are being held liable for fruitless and wasteful expenditure of, and you can give me a roundabout figure. What then?
Naledi, we have financial management regime in South Africa for the public service in provinces, in state-owned enterprises, in universities, in the provinces. We have the Public Finance Management Act. But for municipalities, we've got a specific legislation that is in place. It's called the Municipal Finance Management Act. And they really try to bring some level of sanity in the manner in which our municipal institutions function and make sure that they are able to first put together their resources, they budget, they function to provide public services. But they are also expected to make sure that whoever is responsible for the municipal finance management activities, that they are responsible and that their fiduciary role is actually executed. But what we have seen is that there's just so much leakages, and we know that these leakages go straight into the pockets of municipal officials, politicians at that level. And to call them out directly and say, look, you have basic responsibilities as officials at that level. If you are called out to, build a facility, to make sure that a municipal road is in place, to make sure that rates and taxes are paid, and that you are able to account for that, can you just please go back to the basics and do that? This is exciting because this is basic. It's not complicated, but they have made it look complicated. And now they are coming back to account to say to the citizens, to say to the courts, to say to the Auditor General, because by and large we see the reports of the Auditor General, which are in abundance for many years, saying, can we have the necessary leadership in place that is going to say to South Africans that this is how we have used the money, these are the shortages, or this is these are the excesses. But we've not seen that. We've seen people evading, ducking and diving, but we have not been seen, the value of our payments of rates and taxes. So I think they need to come to account. Our councils need to come back to account. Our management in local government system need to come back to account and say, this is how we have been using our resources to provide basic municipal services.
Yeah. So if you'll allow me, Prof, what I want to do is actually perhaps look at an example, right? And an example that I think many of us are quite aware of. So I think VBS Mutual Bank and its relationship with some municipalities in the past, right? And it was in 2018, I think, National Treasury saying that the investment by municipalities of grant funding in VBS Mutual Bank represented a breach of regulations. Right. So already you've got money that is moved in, and you can argue whether that's fruitless or wasteful expenditure and where that sits in terms of the regulation, and clarify that for us. But then where we say, according to this ruling, what would then happen in a case like that? And we can choose a municipality and say, okay, money was taken, moved into VBS Mutual Bank as an example. Who's held accountable and what would that look like?
I think and this is a very classical example, Naledi and the viewers at home, that we have seen this particular case, and many of those people that are, responsible for this unfortunate situation have escaped this kind of a situation and a ruling where they need to pay back the money, and some sadly need to go straight to jail because they have just taken people's money. Services have been missing, but no one has been held to account. So in essence, in my interpretation, what happened is that there's a municipal finance management process that actually says that you cannot invest in mutual banks. And what did we see? We saw municipalities going ahead, investing in mutual banks, getting kickbacks from the monies that they have invested, and that money also funding some of the friends and acquaintances. But who is the loser? The community, the taxpayer. And instead, the court is now saying that if you are going to invest in a VBS account where you are not supposed to, we are going to come to party, get a report, know who has invested in that. And in essence, what we know it's much likely to be a scenario is that the municipal manager is going to be a party, the mayor is going to be a party. In some cases, the speaker is going to be a party. But most importantly, the chief financial officer of those municipalities are going to be a party. So they need to come to the courts to account and explain what happened, who signed those documents, and why are they not supposed to be paying those money back to the municipal account so that municipalities can be viable and be mainstreamed to provide basic municipal services to their community. The reality is, for every pothole you see, for every malfunctioning traffic light that you see, for any small problem that you experience in a municipality, in part, it is because we are facing a dire situation of a corrupt official, of a corrupt politician who are not invested in any way in making sure that our local government system functions as it should.
Yeah, I'm just looking at examples, more examples here. Really at the heart of this issue as well is the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, that multi-billion integrated public transport system. This ruling, of course, opening the opportunity for multi-million rand claims to be recovered from municipal officials. The true test of this ruling, though, Prof, is going to be whether or not municipal officials are going to watch this, and it will deter them from, I suppose, the undesired action, right? Or even encourage them to keep a closer eye on what those bank statements and those, books really look like. Is it enough, that fear that, well, this could actually cost me? Are you confident of that?
I think it's an important spanner in the works, because we have been looking forward to this to make sure that whoever comes to our public sector and say that we want to be a public official, we want to serve the public, they need to make sure that their ducks are in a row, that their intentions are, what it actually means that they want to serve our communities. It may not necessarily be enough, but I think what the major part of what is needed, in my view, over and above the Auditor General and the courts that have come to party, is the active citizenry. And usually this comes through our NGOs that need to operate and make sure that they keep local government officials, politicians to account. But we have not seen that vibrancy at the local government sphere. And perhaps if this element comes to party, we should be able to see much more levels of accountability at local government sphere.
But the ruling can be challenged, yes? The SCA ruling.
It can be, but I think we still need other, if we can get the civil society coming to party and oppose this and say, we want to see anyone who's going to work within the local government sphere to be active. Now, lady, our local government system, as we speak in South Africa today, it's completely on its knees. We've got municipalities that are completely dysfunctional. Some are almost unable to pay their employees' salaries. And because we have watched this kind of a scenario happening for many years without any, recourse for those who have been found on the other side of the law. And I think it's time that we stand up as academia, as the media, as the civil society, join these courts, join the Auditor General and say, you will have to pay. If our local government system is not functional, our democracy will be challenged. And so we are coming to party, and our role is just to make sure that whoever functions and are given the responsibility to take care of our resources, that they do that with care, with a lot of attention to details, and that they go out there and service people. And we need to also put a strong caveat that we've got a lot of public servants, we've got a lot of municipal officials who really do this with a lot of love for our country and our institutions. But unfortunately, there's always a rotten potato that has always overtaken these kind of good intentions. So this is something that needs to be welcomed and fully supported by the entire sector of our society.
Yeah, thank you so much for speaking to us, Prof. We really do appreciate your insights, Dr. Professor Kedibone Phago, the governance expert, speaking to us from the Northwest University. And we're going to be having a lot of discussions around what happens in local government, not just because in 2026 we're heading towards those local government elections, but because promises were made in the run-up even to this 2024 election. Are they translating as we go further and further into the 7th administration into your communities? Let us know by sending us a WhatsApp. If you see physical manifestations of service delivery challenges, send us a WhatsApp. That number is 072-110-5584. Whether it be pictures, videos, we want to see it. Let us know what municipality you're in, the name of your ward councillor, and we'll be getting you those answers.